Hello, my name is Caden, and I have a little update on the status of the Oldsmobile here. I'm sitting here resting for now, but not forever. Yes, big things have happened, so I've actually managed to pull the engine on this son of a gun. Don't ask how. Well, you can, but this was my first time actually pulling an engine before. It wasn't horrible, but definitely a little bit of a learning experience. So when you pull these from the top, I guess I've learned that deflating the front tires is a must. And I also actually had to remove this top plastic and the hood latch because it just barely wouldn't clear and my hoist was topped all the way out. So I know the other question that's coming, where is the engine at? Well, let me show y'all. The engine is sitting right here. This was actually a super big pain in the ass to get in here because of this drop right here. It's about 6 to 8 inches. I didn't lift the crane and I had to actually disassemble the crane and reassemble it behind it. My neighbor and I had a dolly, like a furniture dolly kind of, or like, you know, the ones for moving like a washing machine or something. I actually managed to wheel it around through my yard. That driveway goes out to the road, of course, so we wheeled it in. The dead grass, by the way, small coolant accident, and tell you what, it's the best weed killer I've ever seen. Ain't nothing living down there, but I do kind of want it to grow back at some point, but I'm getting distracted. And no, I don't just have it dangling from the hoist permanently. I have a very light slack on it, and I've got it bolted to a stand here. Fortunately, the 3800 isn't very friendly to this engine stand. I could only use the 3, but it does good enough. But I keep this on here because it still makes me nervous, trusting just 3 bolts to hold this whole 400-pound piece of leverage on the end of this thing. But this is where it's at. I'm going to eventually get to tearing it down. This will be a slower process over time. Like I said, not sure if I'll film all of it or not. I kind of get into a groove of things when I really start working at something. But when it is torn down, I will definitely give updates. Notice that I kind of crushed the oil filter there on that passenger frame rail. Something you might consider removing is this housing if you ever pull the engine on yours. But yeah, this is where we're at. Of course, I still have not fully made the decision whether or not to put a used engine or just put a cam in this one. It's going to depend on some other objects and variables, seeing what else is damaged on the inside. Might consider doing an oil analysis. Based on the previous owner I bought it from, it makes me skeptical to just throw a cam in it, and because the cam is pretty down in there, and you can understand why I'd be skeptical of that, or why most people would, versus throwing a known good used engine in. But that's always the gamble. Is it really a good used engine or not? I don't necessarily have all the engine building tools that you would need. I know some of them are inexpensive, but some of them are also not. I wouldn't go full rebuild, but there are some things like when reassembling, like feeler gauges and some other pieces that I may or may not have. I'm trying not to buy a million tools at the same time of trying to do this. I've already put a good chunk of money in this stand and this crane, so it's just a wait and see type deal. And I spent all this damn time making this intake look pretty. So place your bets. I'm starting to think there might be a coolant intrusion issue, because I'll put a pic up on the video here, but there was an intake gasket leak that I didn't really notice. It was back when I was dealing with my whole PCV grommet incident that, you know, we have a new one, but the other one fell into the intake at the one point. Prompted me to pull it anyway, and then I found that photo you just seen with the, you know, and I did have, oh, which side is it? This freaking rear side. I did have a freeze plug here. That was, where is it? Oh, down here. See how it's kind of, wet below it? But, this thing would drip coolant just a little bit. So, like, over longer periods of time, coolant loss was to be expected. It wasn't an abnormal amount, but, starting to think that the oil may have been getting contaminated over the years very slowly, each oil change, and it was just eating up the cam bearings and then eventually causing its inevitable demise. Somebody said that a cam bearing may have seized in the rear, and I think that's very highly likely. So again, we'll just have to see what happens, but I'm proud that I got it out of the car and into my shop here. And so, yeah, it's going to be gravy working on this thing outside of the car. Let me tell you, that's going to be super nice. As far as the rest of the car goes, so obviously there's things I want to do when the vehicle, when the engine is out of the vehicle. I kind of just have some brackets. The AC bracket I think is optional to remove, but tell you what, I think it made a lot easier to clear the air conditioning compressor. Yeah, anyway. But it makes me wonder, should I put a new torque converter on because the transmission has 121,000 miles on it. And those that know these cars well know that these aren't the most reliable transmission. Or, you know, do I just continue, pull this out, rebuild it? I wouldn't rebuild it. I'd have to pay somebody. But I also kind of believe if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I also partially believe in while you're in there. So while I'm in here, I think the mounts are actually a really good idea. Both the tranny mount, that motor mount, and this other rear tranny mount, which I already have one of these ones. And just cleaning up under here a little bit better. So any suggestions, more thoughts, more opinions? I should probably inflate the front tires again, just so it doesn't ruin the tires from sitting for days and potentially weeks. So right now we'll put it back to rest. And yes, I have to have the stone and this old jack handle sitting on this. And yes, I've got 2 spring clamps in each side holding the lower down. And then I've got this little bungee cord. I don't have good spots to freaking wrap it elsewhere, and I don't feel like crawling on the ground, so it'll work good enough. I actually took the time, took like 60 seconds here, and I removed the antenna because it was kind of interfering with covering it up. But yeah, that's the progress update. So we'll be relying on good old reliable for a while, and this thing, knock on wood, it's been very good to me. I think soon I'm gonna repolish the headlights because it's been about 3 years since I've done it, and I actually had to replace one. But yeah, the old Buick LeSabre ain't too bad, and the air conditioner still works. Let me know if y'all have that problem on yours too with the dash, because it's very common. But anyway, nice. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I will let y'all know what happens with the old LN3.